We were having a good time that night. The storm was raging outside. That stupid ship was still causing a buzzing in our ears, and we were getting pretty crabby about it. When we got up, we had some food. Marjot was delivering resources to the ships before, and she started working on one of the engines. Now that we had everything we needed to get it finished, and she started lobbing explosive shells at those robots. Turns out, though, not only do they not do a lot of damage, they're extremely inaccurate. I was having a beer, listening to the mortar fire. She shot 13 shells at him over a period of time, occasionally hitting him, but not really doing any damage. They didn't even really seem to care about the fact they were getting bombed. When she did hit the ship, it didn't do any damage to note. So, nonetheless, she shot all the shells. She eventually gave up, calling it a waste. Should have saved those for some humans, I suppose. But it was what it was. Eventually she got back to working on the ship, building that engine. I was still making advanced components. We need about 16 more of those things. But I was staying focused. We'd get a few when we destroyed those ships in the south. The ship parts the aliens robots had come in on. The ones we seemed completely unable to kill. We were debating on what to do about it. Neither of us wanted to get hurt. So we went to bed and had some fun. When I woke up, we decided we were going to build another research bench, reinstall our chair. Marjot was going to figure out how to make biofuel. And then we could make our own shells. She was a little miffed. She didn't have that super fancy table anymore for doing research. I told her she'd have to make do. Wouldn't take long. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I kept right on making advanced components. That buzzing in our ear got a bit worse. We were both getting pretty crabby from it. I stopped to have a beer, see if I could cheer up a bit and feel normal. Marjot kept right on researching. Someone came crashing down out of the sky, landed right inside one of our gun rooms. Layla was her name. Marjot decided she couldn't just leave her there. So she went and picked her up, tended to her wounds, made sure she was alright. And she said she'd be just fine, much like Billy was the last fella. Layla couldn't walk yet, but she certainly wouldn't die. Marjot put her back in a little sleeping spot just so she wasn't thrashing all around. I'd been making advanced components this whole time, and we both hit the hay sometime around 2 a.m. Layla's pretty crabby. That buzzing was in her ears too, and she was not liking it. She eventually got up, decided to take off. Some fellas showed up with stuff to trade. And somehow a pig went crazy and started attacking them. But they killed the pig, whatever it's worth. Layla was taking her sweet time wandering off. Marjot grabbed the slag Layla had left. We sold some stuff. Just some junk we had laying around didn't want to those people that were visiting. Nothing major though. And then I got back to making advanced components. Marjot had a meal, and then she was having a beer. She was feeling rather inspired, despite that buzzing in her ear, which I found interesting. Those people who wandered off ended up getting tangled up with those mechanoids that were down south. Dirty robot alien things. Killed most of them. Left a lot of supplies laying about. but we weren't about to go risk our lives trying to retrieve them. Those guys seemed like nice people too, so I was a little crabby about the fact the stupid mechs had done that. But we'd be dealing with them before too long, that was for sure. Some transport pods crashed down nearby. There was a whole bunch of apples, and that warg was laying there dead. We could claim him too. Not sure what went wrong with that guy, but guess we'll take what we can get. When I woke up, had a meal, went back to work. These advanced components aren't going to make themselves. One of our boom rats was starving to death, and we certainly didn't want him blowing up, so I fed him as well. And about that time, a bunch of aliens showed up. Dirty buggers. I was hoping they'd go fight with those robots, but for the most part, they decided to ignore them. There was quite a few of the buggers, so Marjot was also outside. She decided to run like hell. I hope they didn't go after her. And her plan seemed to work. They were hot to trot. Get inside and get a hold of me. There were a lot of them. I was worried our guns wouldn't be able to take them all down. Turns out we have quite a lot of turrets here, and they take care of most anything. We're gonna have to repair the barrels and all that before too long, but for now we were safe. They were doing their job. Stupid aliens kept standing up once in a while, even though you'd think they're dead. Some of them, those little face huggers, had gotten a hold of some deer down south. We're trying to implant something into them, so we ran down there to see if we could deal with them. Marjot was getting pretty crabby with everything that was going on around here, and I was in a worse mood than usual. We had to shoot up one of the face huggers. Turns out the little bastards are hard to hit. But eventually we killed the deer it was attached to and then killed it. The other one happened a lot sooner. Thankfully, we killed the deer and we killed the face hugger. Then we were out of there. Hopefully nothing bad comes of it. Marjot was picking up all the dead bodies, putting them away. I was making advanced components when more of the aliens showed up. Seems like those things never gonna leave us alone. And of course, they didn't go for the robots. Not most of them anyway. One of them did. Our guns took care of the ones that came for us. The robots took care of one of them for us. Turns out, robots win every time, being that they have really powerful fire weapons. So with that batch of aliens dead, Marjot had more work to do. She was pretty crabby, tossing horseshoes, just over there harumphing and complaining. She had herself a fine meal. She even did some cleaning. She said it calmed her nerves a bit somehow. And then she went to bed. She'd seen too many dead bodies while hauling those dead aliens out. And I can't say as I blame her for being crabby, but hopefully by morning she feels better. Once again, that noise got worse. We were gonna have to do something. Lest we snap. Things were feeling a little desperate. If it was just those little aliens, we'd have gone and dealt with them sooner. But that big one really scared us. Neither of us was feeling overly happy, I can tell you that. But Marjot eventually figured out how to make that biofuel. And then she got busy making a biofuel refinery. And as it happens, we had a whole ton of corn around here. So we were going to make up a bunch of that chem fuel. And then we were going to use that to make some mortar shells. And then we were going to use those to bomb those robots. So I had a beer, and then I started making mortar shells after Marjot had made some chem fuel. And we had a little system going. A deer had gone mad, but it turns out it was hot to trot to get a hold of some robots. Didn't make it, needless to say. Marjot kept making chem fuel, and I kept working on shells until Marjot decided to take a break. She was aiming right for the psychic ship. She wanted that drone to stop ASAP. So she was trying to get that done. We were both about as crabby as you could imagine. And she didn't have any luck with the first shot. She decided she better hit the hay since she was so tired. We had some fun together that night, which should keep us both a little happier than usual. Till the feeling wears off anyway. There was a trader overhead. One of those weird-faced alien traders. Not the ones that always try to kill us. Oh, we sold all kinds of stuff. And we bought a ton of steel, an advanced component, some extra clothes since my pants were worn out. Marjot's helmet had worn out. Something to wear for a little while until we put on our power armor. Marjot got up and had some chocolate, put on her helmet, and I was still sleeping. When I got up, I put my pants on, and then all of a sudden I was feeling weird. I came down with muscle parasites. I was less than happy about it, but it wasn't going to stop me from working. It was just going to stop me from being relatively happy. I made some shells. Marjot was picking up bodies, and then she decided to start lobbing shells at those aliens again. She was sure she could hit it, just given enough tries, which didn't make much sense to me, but I wasn't going to tell her that, being how crabby she was. I'd bought some joints from that trader, so we got to smoking a few of them. Anything that'd make us a little happier seemed like a good plan. We'd also bought some chem fuel, since we sold so much of our corn. Marjot had a meal. I made some shells. Marjot manned the mortar. I went to bed. And eventually, she got lucky and destroyed the thing, and the drone stopped. And we were both overjoyed. Some cargo pods came down around that time. It was barley, but it was also pretty close to those robots. We decided to leave it. We don't need the mechanoids shooting us up over some barley. We don't really care. I decided to do some cleaning in the morning. That smoke leaf was making me feel real good. And hungry, however. So I got up and had some food. One of our guns is broken down. We'd have to get that fixed. Marjot was working with the boom rat. Not really sure why she decided to keep focusing on these animals, but she said it made her feel calm to take care of something. I hit the hay. I was feeling tired with the muscle parasites. Just couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. So it really screwed up my sleeping hours. Marjot decided to build one of the ship engines, which was pretty interesting when she was done. I slept through the whole thing. We were also adding another door to our storage room, which we decided we probably should have added a long time ago since we were in and out of there so much. So Marjot worked on that. And I decided to focus on the advanced components again over the shells, since we destroyed the ship that was causing us so much problem. So I stayed focused on that. Advanced components is where it at. Marjot got up and had herself a joint. She was smiling from ear to ear now that that drone had stopped. And I was feeling pretty happy myself. We had a ton of traps to rebuild. Security should be one of our #1 priorities. We only needed 2 more advanced components, but I needed to be tended periodically. But overall, I guess I was doing okay with it. Marjot was building traps, since there was so much to do when I was sleeping. And I decided to get up and accomplish something. So I had some tea, watched some TV, while Marjot kept working. Then I got to making the last of the advanced components. There's just a few of them left. Marjot hit the hay around midnight. She was feeling alright. We were both feeling alright since that stupid drone had ended. We'd uninstalled the chair. We're going to deconstruct the research bench. There was still a lot of work to do. I decided to have a meal, and Marjot got up and joined me, and then I was off to bed. Still feeling sick and tired. These stupid parasites are really wearing me out. Marjot built traps. She deconstructed the chem fuel maker. And one of our coolers had broken down. So transport pods came down right nearby. For that we were happy. We'd claim that stuff without issue. I was laying in bed, trying to get some energy together. Decided to make some shells. Marjot was running around doing repairs. Some fella came crashing down out of the sky, but he was a pirate. We weren't too happy to see him. We decided to let him lay there and suffer based on all the stuff they've done to us. And maybe that's not right, because he may not have been involved, being that he was in space. But either way, we were off to bed. Not too concerned with that fella. We had some fun that night. Both feeling a little crazy from the smoke leaf. There was an advanced component down south. Somebody contacted us with a peace talks thing. We decided we didn't care about peace, because we'd be out of here real soon. I decided it was time to cook. There was a whole lot of cooking needed doing. Marjot was still repairing stuff. The place was still half destroyed. So I joined her. It's nice to work together. We hopscotched around, repairing sandbags and walls and guns. All kinds of stuff. Marjot decided she was going to start refueling all these turrets. Get them all repaired and ready to go. If they were all rearmed, we'd be in a good shape. I had to hit the hay. I was too tired again. These stupid muscle parasites were getting the better of me, but I was getting the best tending I could, so I was hoping I would get over those pretty soon. So Marjot was working on getting them guns rearmed. I decided to get up and work on our ship reactor. It was a big thing, and it was pretty advanced in terms of stuff I've built around here. So it was a fun project. We both hit the hay. Decided to call it a day. My sleeping hours were so screwed up I couldn't really keep anything straight. But I kept working on that ship reactor. Marjot kept rearming all these turrets. Get those barrels in tip-top shape. Marjot decided to chill out and have a beer. Well, I just kept on working. Turns out, it takes a lot of effort to build a ship reactor. Most people don't know that. But it took me quite a while. Days, in fact. Considering I had to keep going to sleep. Stupid muscle parasites getting the better of me. Marjot was doing some smelting. We were starting to run a bit low on steel again. And then she did some hauling and tidying, putting all of our stuff in the right spots before she went to bed. Of course, she laid down right when I got up, which is probably for the best since we won't be disturbing each other in the night. Another boom rat decided to join us about that time. Friendly little bugger. They're kind of cute if you don't mind the risk. Turns out I do mind the risk if they're near my ship, though. And I finished the reactor. Thing looked fantastic. I was pretty stoned at the time, so that made me even hungrier. I should have otherwise felt. I decided to go to bed about 3 a.m. Nothing more than usual to complain about. Marjot got up. She was sleepwalking, started putting up some roofs where we didn't want them. But when she came to her senses, she ripped them back down. I got up, disassembled the trade beacon I'd set up in the cooler. Turns out we could use the steel. Big old Megasloth stepped on some of her traps, got itself all mangled. The only downside is I gotta rebuild all these traps. There's all kinds of blood mingling around. God, I hope nothing awful spawns from a combination of Megasloth blood and alien blood. You never know on this planet. So I was working on one of the ship engines. Marjot was hauling stuff around, just keeping stuff clean, building traps, take care of all the odds and ends. And I finished one of the engines. It was looking pretty stinking nice too. Then I had to hit the hay. Marjot came in and tended me. Not the best, but certainly not the worst this time. And Marjot decided to drop some shells on those aliens to the south, seeing as we were a little short on supplies once again. We got a prisoner rescue call, of which we weren't interested. And Marjot didn't have any luck dropping bombs on those mechs. She decided to hit the hay. Let me take a try. We only had 4 shells, and we were short on steel relative to where we'd like to be. Then my first hit was a success. The dirty buggers came running for us. My second, third hit, something was a success as well. It all kind of blurs together. Then once they showed up and started stepping on traps, that really pissed them all off. Pretty sure they got some kind of central computer in there that they all communicate with somewhere. The big one tried to come for us, and then he turned around. I tried to lure him in. Decided maybe that wasn't the best bet. We had some plasteel as a part of these guys. I decided to chill out and watch some TV after all that excitement. And Marjot was hauling these guys in while I rebuilt traps. Just a little more plasteel, we'd be right where we need to be. There was an infestation down south. Some of them dirty old tunneling aliens popped up. It kind of worked out because they started attacking that big old mech. And they all had a big old battle. One of the aliens ran off, started attacking a pig. It was just pure insanity down there. But that alien managed to kill that big old robot. We decided to get involved since we could use all the materials laying around down there. That solved some issues for us. Sadly, there was all those dead people that had visited us and traded with us. So for that we were pretty sad, but we'd have to get over it. We had aliens to kill. Somebody contacted us saying they were being chased about that time, but once again, we don't have any time for this stuff. Not when we're being freaking attacked from every side by robots and aliens. All kinds of jerks. So I killed one. Marjot was shooting up the other one. We were getting a little nervous at how close he was getting. He was one of the big freaky warrior-like ones. Seemed to be able to fight quite well. And we ended up giving him the business. We had to go in, destroy his little hidey hole that he popped up in there. We also had to destroy that mechanoid ship that had caused all the plants to die in this area. So we started by giving that tunnel the business. All of a sudden a mad goat showed up, but it ended up dying on our trap. That alien we had thought was dead got up and started coming for us, but he was pretty well injured. And last but not least, we had to destroy that ship. Marjot was trying to stand in front of me, test my aim, but I told her that probably wasn't such a good idea. Unless she was really close, I could shoot over her shoulder. So we destroyed the ship, decided to claim all the resources. And life was good now. We should have everything we need. Some visitors showed up. They had heard we'd built a ship and they just wanted to check it out. Plus they had some stuff to sell. So I decided to go on out and trade with them. It wasn't terribly exciting in all honesty. So I looked and pretended it was nice, but I didn't buy anything. And I went to bed, feeling better. They left us a gift. They were so impressed by our ship when they left. So that was interesting. 213 silver. Not that we really need much silver anymore, but hey ho, it'll sit here when we go. Things were looking up now. Marjot was hauling stuff. There was a lot of it to haul. And I decided to break down all the robot bodies that were laying about. Since plasteel was a #1 priority right now, I'd gathered one up and left them all sitting in a pile where I could work on them quickly. Marjot was going to have a lot of smelting to do, since there was steel slag building up everywhere. There was a dead pig, and some flak pants that we had sold to those guys, even some packaged survival meals, but we were hesitant about their meals, not knowing the conditions under which they'd been made or by whom. We didn't want to get sick. So I broke down the robots. Marjot carried slag in, seeing as we might need a bunch of steel. Then I hit the hay. I was tired, and it's certainly been a long day. Marjot was outside chilling out by herself, smoking a joint. She looked funny in her helmet, but I wasn't going to tell her that. She decided to come to bed shortly after that, feeling pretty good. Fire had started right down south in our area, inside our wall by our slag. And Marjot said there was a buzzing in her ear she couldn't make go away. Some girl showed up about that time. Name is Spencer. She was just a young kid, all gung-ho. She'd heard we had a ship. She just wanted to see it, check it out, hang out for a while. I decided to build that last engine, and we let Spencer take some clothes, and we even made her a bed. She decided to help out and started hauling stuff around. She's a sharp kid, like she made it this far all on her own. So we decided to make her a little bedroom, invited her to stay for a while. She could take over all this stuff when we left if she didn't mind dealing with all the BS. Yeah, we'd leave her everything we had here when we took off on the ship. Seemed like a good plan. She seemed a little sad about it, but she seemed happy since we had such a nice house. She, being from a poor area, didn't have much. Secretly, we were going to ask her to join us, so I made some plans to build another crypto sleep casket. We certainly couldn't leave this poor kid here. Not the way this world worked. So, Spencer hauled stuff around. We let her wear a psychic foil hat she thought was funny and not very fashionable. And I worked on a little crypto sleep casket for her. Marjot finished it up. Spencer had herself a meal. We'd have to keep our bedroom door closed. Spencer make a bunch of noise. We all hit the hay about that time. Marjot and Spencer complaining about that buzzing in their ears, which I was sad I couldn't make it go away for them. There was a bunch of slag laying around. Marjot was bringing that in. And Marjot was pretty crabby, so she decided to hit the hay as well. Spencer's gonna need herself a heater in her bedroom. Perhaps an air conditioner too. Marjot and I had a good night. It was weird having Spencer around, somebody else to talk to once in a while, even if she was a youngin'. And Spencer seemed okay too. Really happy with her new accommodations. Really happy we were going to be taking her off the planet. So with that, we all slept through the night. Except for that brief interlude Marjot and I had. The ship was ready to go. Just had to fire it up. That'd be tomorrow.